Alright guys, I wanted to start off by saying sorry about the length on this video, but I definitely wanted to give the full review on this whole thing. It took a long time to do this. Like I've said before in other videos, I've never done any of this before, so I've learned it all by trial and error, and I've put it all on video right here for you. So hope you enjoy. Thanks. Alright, now we are going to open our bearings. These are the crank bearings, crank to block bearings. These are undersized by 10,000, so I will use some plastigauge. It's a little on the old side, but I will use some plastigauge and crank these bad boys down and make sure I got the correct fitment. All right, so we definitely want to be careful right here. I'm just going to poke right through here, cut a hole. Don't want to touch the bearings at all. Make a small nick in them or anything like that. So we're going to just tear the package open slowly. Like I said, I don't want to screw anything up this far along into this LS motor build. Let's see. Plastic's a little harder than I thought. Alright, took my time, real nice and easy. I cut upwards, so I didn't cut into anything if I touched anything. I didn't, so luckily. So, in the instructions and the ordering information, these bearings come pre-cleaned and ready to install. They look very nice. So I'll definitely have to watch while installing these things. They got a little, I guess everybody calls them tangs. So we'll need to make sure we match that up on the side of the block. I might give these a little wipe down. Probably gonna do that. Shouldn't hurt nothing. So these are going to be your two thrust bearings. They're not as clean as they said they were. Glad I thought to just wipe these a little bit. Now you see that? I don't know if that's just where it got moved around in the box, but we'll check and make sure. These are cleveite too, so it's yeah, definitely dirty. Alright. That'll be okay. We got the tools to clean it up with. The back sides don't look bad, but I'm just going to give them all a little wipe. Makes me feel a little better at night. So there are some differences in these bearings that I will show you. Alright, last one. Alright, those were a little bit dirty. basically all the black was from the thrust bearings. So I'm glad I thought to just wipe those down. Glad I did. Alright, so if you look at them, one's got a groove and holes in it for the oil passages. So that goes to your block, and then the other side, which doesn't have any holes, it's still got the tang but no holes, goes to your main cap. So definitely watch for that. And I'm gonna set them aside. So obviously we know same thing with those, same thing with your crush bearings. So you got the holes, no holes, but they all still have the tangs on them, so you got to watch for that as well. So I'm going to put on the bottom side all the ones with oil passages, and then on the top side I'll put all the ones without oil passages. So you got 5 bearings for the bottom, 5 bearings for the top, and let's get started. I will move the camera to a different location and we'll get started. Alright, we are going to get started. Alright, so remember what I was talking about with those little tangs that everybody talks about right here on the bearing? So if you look at the bearing, it's straight on one side, but it's also got a little groove on the other side. So on the block, it's grooved on this side for every bearing. So every bearing is going to have the tang on this side closest to me. Alright, so we are going to get started. Nice and clean. Oh, that fit in there very nice. Alright, so you're also going to want to make sure that the surface of the bearing is flush with the journal right here. So just push it down, click it in place. We'll work our way out on both sides. So I'm going to stick the tang in there. Bring it down a little farther. Stick the tang in, just kind of push it down into place. And I'll get a better shot here in a minute on making sure that those are flush. And then tang again, this side. Let's put it in. Push it down. Just push it to where it's about smooth. Alright. Fits right in there. Alright, tang again. Make sure this is nice and clean and dry. You don't want any oil in here. Prevent a spun bearing is what we're trying to prevent here. So put it in there. Push it down. Nice and smooth on both sides. Alright. Nice and clean gloves as well. Same thing. Tang down. Slide it into place. Oh yeah. Fits nice. Fits nice in there. Alright. Our next steps, we are going to set the crank in there. But I'm going to position it to where I can get my hand down in there and get the mains in there. Because you don't want to spin it after you put it in dry. I'm going to put it in dry. And when I torque these down, when I torque the main caps down, I'm only going to torque them to 18 foot-pounds. Now, I was showed this by an older gentleman, so I'm definitely going to go with his recommendation on this. He doesn't do any of the torque to yield. He just puts it in, torques it to 18, pulls the mains off, checks everything with plastigauge, and goes from there. So that's what we're going to do. Alright, I'm going to set the crank in. It's definitely heavy, so you got to be really careful setting this into place. Alright, I think it's in. Alright, and if you notice the way I put this in here, get the camera around on this side. You'll notice the way I put this in here, it's almost dead center right here on the top with this balance, and same on the other side. So when I put my caps in there, I could still reach in there and tighten my caps down. See that? All right, we are back with the main caps now. Do the same thing like I've done on all the other surfaces, bearing surfaces, or bearing mating surfaces. A little bit of brake clean, and then we're going to check the surfaces, make sure they're nice and clean, And just so you know, the Gen 3s are numbered, so that's number 1, number 2 on that side, number 3, which is your thrust, number 4, and then number 5 is over there on this side. So, and another thing to notice is 1 and 5 have tang holes on both sides. So you'll want to watch for that. So you'll want to make sure your tang is on this side to match the other 3. So when you put them together, you're going to want to make sure your tang is on that side. So here we go. We will get started. Fit it in there. Press it down. Make sure it's flush on both sides. And what I mean by flush on both sides is when you look down it, you want to make sure the bearing is flush as best as possible, obviously, for your application. So that's number 3, remember? So that's going to be the thrust, and then we'll make sure the tang is on that side. And also in the directions too, so there's 3 slots for oil slots on this one, and then there's 2 on this side. And in the directions it says to make sure the side with 3 oil grooves faces the rear of the motor. So when I put this together and put this bearing on here and flip it over this way, this side's got the 2 oil, and then this side's got the 3, and the way it sits right now is the front of the motor is this side, so that would be the back. So it's sitting right. Alright, make sure she's level again. Same with this one. Push it in place. Should probably get a little closer with the camera. Alright. So again, make sure it's as level as possible. This side could probably go down a fuzz, so we'll do that. And there it is. Level on both sides. Got my last 2. Fit it in. Make sure it's level as possible. And then again on number 1. Alright, we are going to start putting some plastigauge in. Yay, plastigauge. Oh no. Almost lost it all. Try to put it as dead center as possible. Alright. 4. All right, doing good so far, doing good so far. 5. Now you guys are having a hard time probably seeing number 5, but I am putting it on there. All right, number 5 is on. And now we'll do the hardest one, number 3. Or number 2, sorry, excuse me, number 2. Got to fit it in there. And drop it in place. Oh, I think we're good, yeah. Main cap's on, so just be careful. You don't want to slam these things on. Most of the time, if you just get them going just right, they'll drop the majority of the way on there. Number 2. 2. Number 4. Is that one you can barely see. Remember, these got the wings got to point towards number 1. All right. And number 3, the thrust bearing. Be as careful as possible putting them in there. All right. Now we'll start dropping some bolts in. Alright, these are just factory GM main cap bolts, so they are the torque-heeled ones. We will torque these to 18 on this first little pass, but we are not going to yield them. We are not going to do the degree. We're just going to do the 18 foot-pounds, and then we'll pull everything apart and check bearing clearances with the plastic gauge. An older gentleman that builds motors for a living showed me this, so this is kind of the way I'm gonna go about it. All right, now as you can see that clearance right there, that's how much we got to go down. All right, sorry for the long pause. We're just going to, this is just my 3/8 ratchet, just going to get a couple of turns and work it way down. Should probably get an extension. And I'm just working these down now. I'm not tightening anything yet. I can see down through the side that I've still got 3/16 or an 1/8 of an inch to go before anything's even near tight. I just don't want to take a chance on messing up my plastic gauge before I get them seated. That would defeat the purpose of all this, putting it together and taking it apart. Alright, I think that one's seated. Let's seat this one now. And seated there. I'm not putting no pressure on these. I can see them seating themselves. You see, I'm holding the base of the ratchet, so I'm not even able to get any kind of leverage on it. All right, there we go, seated. Seated. And this number 5. All right, now we're gonna get. I got a little carried away. I almost forgot my outer bolts. Yeah. And now during this whole thing, you do not want to turn this crank. You do not want to turn the crank. You'll mess up your plastigauge, and everything's dry. There's no lube on anything in here, so just remember that. You don't want to take a chance on turning that thing. And those are 15 mil. So I will put that 15 mil on the ratchet like the last go. Now it's going to be kind of hard to see, but these are the torque specs right here. I pulled them up on my phone, and that way everybody can kind of see them. So I've got these kind of torqued down already. All right, so this is going to be number 1. This is going to be 2. Following along here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and it's going to start back over. It's going to be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. All right, let's get started. All right, and like I said, remember, I'm not doing the normal torque sequence here. Well, I'm doing the sequence correctly, but I'm not doing the torque to yield. I'm doing 18 foot-pounds because I'm just checking my plastigauge. 18. 18, and then now here to 5, go to 18, 6, take 6 to 18. All right, and then obviously over here on the far edge is 7, take 7 to 18, 8 to 18, all right, then we're going to go all the way to the other side of the motor to number 9, and we're going to take 9 to 18 as well. Take it to 18. All right, now we're going to change out the socket size, go to our 15 mil. Start again, right here in the middle. We'll take this to 18 as well. Now these are a lot looser now, but 18. 18, and then 3, 18, 18, 18. Obviously I'm saying 3, but this is 15. 16, 4 side, 17, and 18, 19. This is going to finish it off right here. 20. All right, now I'm going to break them all loose. I'm going to kind of go opposite of what I was just doing, and I'm going to break them all loose. Break that loose. Break that loose. Break that loose. Break that loose. And then here. Alright, now we'll do our 13 mils. Start again on this back side. Loosen, 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 loosen. Alright, they're all loosened. Now I'm just going to zip them all out with the impact. And we'll go from there. Alright. Alright guys, we're back. We are still in the process of checking the plastigauge. So, yes, off camera, I did pull the rest of the bolts loose. I haven't pulled any caps yet, so we will do that now. Alright, I know it's most of the time it's a struggle to get these caps off, and especially get them off without messing up your plastigauge. Large screwdriver, and help me get started. These things are definitely tough. Alright, there's one up. Alright, so the plastigauge stayed on the cap bearing. So we'll check that. Measure on our first one. Let's see. Looks like we're 0.003. See that? So now that's no oil. I don't have any oil or anything in there, and that's just the 18 foot-pounds torque. That's kind of where we want to be at, from what I was told from that older gentleman. So with oil and the final torque, we would be perfect. All right, that's awesome. All right, we'll do the next one. Number 2. Same thing, and it looks about the same as well. Alright, so same thing. 0.003, which, alright. We'll check number 3 now. Now number 3 is going to be the little bit harder one to get out of here, since it's got the thrust bearings and it fits tight on both sides. Just take our time, pry upwards, make sure we don't gouge nothing with our screwdriver. Always want to make sure of that. Let's see if I can work it up now with my fingers. Alright, we'll leave that one for last. We'll go to number 4. Alright, there's number 4. Plastigauge kind of got turned on that one, but we'll check it. Same thing. So We're not getting a glare in that, but same thing. It's perfect. Just got to take your time and work them out. Definitely not easy. If it looks like it's easy, it is deceiving, because it is hard to get these things out of there. Alright. Same thing on number 5 here. Same thing, 3,000. Number 3 is giving me a run for my money. There it goes. Finally. Alright. So, same thing as all the others. Oh, on the wrong side. We are 3,000. Awesome. That is perfect. That's what we want for this application and how we're doing it. The caps over here at the bench. We'll do one last little wipe down on the main bearings. Get that plastigauge off. I was always told that you could run it on there, but I'm just gonna wipe it off and get those few spots that stayed on there. That's clean. Clean. And our last one. Alright, good and clean. Alright, now I'm gonna pull the crank out as easy as possible without dropping it. Don't want to do that. So our crank is out. Now we are going to lube up our bearings. The way you want to do this is when you do your bearing, you don't want to go over the top. You don't want to get up here on the edge. You don't want any lubricant or anything like that to get on this back side of this bearing. From what I was told, you want it to seat. You don't want any lube back there when you put your crank in. So we're not gonna go quite to the top of these little tangs right here. We're gonna stay down a little bit. Put our ultra slick on that way. Oh yeah. Gotta lube the inside of this one. Remember where that crank's gonna ride? Gotta make sure you get the inside. That's a bearing surface as well. We just want to make sure all this is nice and lubed up. Alright, I believe we're good on that. So I'm going to wipe my fingers off and then I'm going to set the crank in. Alright, now as I'm getting ready to set this thing in here, I'm going to look at my orientation again and try to set it in to where I can put my main caps on. to the best of my ability without having to rotate the crank, because I want to get my main caps on before I do any rotating of the crank. There it goes. Alright, I'm going to leave it still, and I'm going to get ready to put my main caps on. And like I did on the block side, I am going to put a little bit of Ultra Slick on the main cap. I'm not going to get carried away. I'm going to do just like I did on the other one. I'm not going to go all the way up. I want these bearings to seat. Alright, this is number one. Remember, the little wing points back into the motor. Alright, now number two, also remember the wings face towards the back of the motor. So it's gonna go in, facing the back of the motor. And we'll do number three. Now remember, this one is your thrust bearing. So you gotta do not only the inside of the bearing here, but you gotta get to this outside here. So make sure it's all nice and lubed up. And remember, in our directions, the little oil grooves, 3 of them, face the back of the motor. Also, your wings. Alright, we'll get number 4. Alright. Same with number 4, wings facing the back of the motor. The only one that's going to change on is number 5. And let's grab number 5. And the reason is you don't want to get that lube up in there. You don't want to take a chance on getting anything back there to spin a bearing. That would be terrible after all this work I've been doing, or if you watching this have been doing, and spin a bearing. So just take our time. Alright, now I'm going to clean up. Alright, well, I thought I was rolling, but I wasn't, and I dropped all the bolts in. But I'm gonna do just like I did last time. I haven't tightened anything down. I haven't done anything but besides drop the bolts in. So I'm just gonna tighten them down till they touch the cap. On. I'm not going any kind of sequence or anything. Just doing it right now. Alright, change the 13 mil out for the 15. Alright, same thing, just tighten them down. Alright, just like I did the first go around, I will just do the little quarter turns to tighten the caps down. nervous about this moment, to be honest with you. I don't have a actual torque to yield degree torque wrench, so I'm gonna use the little dial gauge. Not what I really wanted to do, but also didn't want to drop $300 on a torque wrench. Alright, I'm gonna get set up and I'll be right back. Alright, we are back. All set up. I've got our torque sequence here. Arrow pointing to the front of the motor. This is the front of the motor on this side. So I'm going to start with number 1 right here. Go 15 foot-pounds. That's what I'm set up as. Let's do it. I'm probably just as nervous as you are. $15 on the first one. $15 on the second one. Third one's going to start right here. See, number 3. 15 on this one. 15. All right, now we're going to go back over to number 5 right here. Get us 15 foot-pounds. 15. 6 right here. All right, and then 7 all the way over here on this far side, back of the block. 8 right here. And then 9. And 10. That'll be all of our 13 millimeters. For the first torque. We still got to yield all these, the degree. So now we'll start back over with 11. All right, same thing, 15 degree, or 15 foot-pounds, sorry. And then number 3, back this way. 4. 5. 6. 'All right, back of the block again for number 7. Well, 17, but 18. 19. And 20. All right, here comes the fun part. The part that I was the most nervous about. And we're going to wing it together. All right, and I'll be right back once I get set up. All right, guys, also another trick before I get started on this. I am going to mark these with a white marker, just kind of here and there, so if I get confused later on, I can tell if I had torque these. So I'm going to mark every one of them. And if you're looking at the camera, it's going to look like about the 12 o'clock mark, but for me, it's going to be like my 6 o'clock mark. So I'm a little ADD, so I'll get sidetracked quick, fast, and in a hurry. And you don't need much, just enough to know that if you torqued it or if you didn't torque it. See here. Paint's coming out good now. All right. Now, when I do the torque to yield, so 80 degrees is basically, 90 degrees is a quarter turn. So at 80 degrees, we'll be able to tell, you know, our mark should be over here. So the initial mark's here. The white mark should be somewhere in this neighborhood here. So, all right, let's get on it. I've never used this thing, so I am going to wing it all with you right here. And kind of the little bit of YouTube and videos that I've seen, I've watched people use these, and they just hold it. I kind of get a basis right here, and then hold it, and then do the torque. So let's see, let's get zeroed out. Alright, so that's about 0. I'm going to hold it, and I'm going to take it to 80 degrees. Ready? And that's 80 degrees right there. Alright. Actually worked out a little better than I thought it was going to. So I'll zero it back out. Come back to number 2. Put a little pressure on it. Alright. And then once I get started, I'll hold the dial and start the torque. Go to 80 degrees again. Oh, let me put the lock on my 80 degrees. Zero this out. Alright, and we're going to go to number 3. Put a little pressure on it. Lock your hand in place on 0. I don't know if you can see that, but lock it in on 0. And then give her some tugs. $80 degrees. Zero back out. Alright, so we're zeroed. A little pressure on the torque wrench, or the pull handle. And we're going to give it 80 again. Ready? Alright. 80. 0. Go to number 5 now. A little pressure and held on 0. And then we'll go again. Alright. 80 degrees. This is going a lot better than I thought it was going to. I was nervous as a cat, man. I'm not gonna lie. I was nervous doing this. Alright, ready? A little pressure on it, zeroed out. Let's go. 80 degrees. Alright, 80 degrees. Alright, now we're going to go to number 7. We're going to zero it out. Let's see if we can get you a little closer on number 7 here. Alright, so, like I said, remember, got a white mark, so we know this one hasn't been done. So got it in place, got a little snug on it, and just want to put a little pressure on it. Zero it out, and then give her some pulls. And 80 degrees. Zero back out. Do the same thing right here. Alright, let's give it 80 degrees. Awesome, man. This is working out awesome. I was so nervous. Alright, let's do our last two of the 80 degrees. Alright, so, oh, forgot to zero it out. Alright, so we're zeroed. A little pressure on the pull handle. And let's go. $80 degrees. Maybe like 81, but that's alright. Alright, so we're zeroed. Last one of 80 degrees. Can you believe it? I don't believe it. Let's do it. 80 degrees. Awesome, man. Ooh. Don't know how good that makes me feel. I didn't tear nothing up. Alright, now we're going to go 51 degrees. Alright, so you see my paint mark trick? Boom. And then now, you know, not quite a quarter turn, so we are there. So we'll start again with 51 degrees. So zeroed out. And then we'll give her the mustard. Alright, so 51 degrees is going to be right in this neighborhood here. It's going to be a little harder, I guess, to get to, so I'll have to really pay attention on that one. So 51. Awesome. Alright, I'm looking for 51 again. So let's give it to her. 51. Alright. Alright, ready? We're zeroed out. Let's give her the $51. Well, I like this little dial here. This little thing's working out good for $15, I think, on Amazon. It's a whole lot better than a $300 torque wrench. You'll probably get it for like $250, I guess. Alright, so we're going to 51 again. 51. Zeroed out. A little pressure on it. And we're going to 51 again. 51. Zeroed out. 51. Alright, now we're going to hit this number 7. Do a little close up on that number 7 and number 8 for you. Alright, let's hit our 51. Zeroed out. And 51. Let's do it. $51. Let's do it. All right. Get you a little close up on 19 and 20. Let's go 51. 51. Alright, zeroed. Going last one for 51. Can you believe it? I wouldn't have believed it if you told me 3 months ago. Alright. Awesome. Alright. So right now I'm going to do the side skirts. So I got a little bit of ultra black gasket maker. These are the factory ones, so they actually come with a little sealant on them. But I'm going to do a little overkill and just put a little extra. Put a little extra on them. Doesn't hurt. Doesn't hurt, or it can't hurt. Hopefully not. I don't know. We'll see. I'll put them all in place on one side, and then I'll go to the other side too. Let's see. Don't need much. I forget the torque spec on these. I've got them. I got a whole printout of the torque specs on this Gen 3 LM7 motor. Alright, so the side bolts, which these are the side bolts, they are 18 foot-pounds. I guess I will just video these. Alright, see what I did? Just kind of went all the way around with it. Stick it into place. And if you're like me, anytime I mess with gasket maker, gasket sealer, RTV, anything like that, I am covered in it. So wash up before you start messing with anything else in the motor. And this gasket maker right here is to prevent leaks, because oil does sit all down in here, so you don't want any leaks. I know Chevrolet, if it leaks oil, it got oil, but try to do away with that on this one. Last one going in. So side skirts are 18. Foot-pound. We are ready to go. Let's see. I'm gonna have to find a. But I got a 3/8. Alright, so I did have a 1/2 to 3/8 adapter. So that's what I'm going to need for this process here, because I can't get my my big one in there. Alright, we're going to 18. It's 18. 18. And let's do 18. Alright, there's 18. And then I'll just set you up right here and we'll go do the other side. Looking for 18 again. 18. 18. 18. 18. All right. The crank should be done. All right, now this is moment of truth right here. Ready? Let's see if this bad boy turns. Oh, I hope so. All right, ready? Oh, yeah. Oh, that's sweet. That's exciting. Oh, that's awesome. No catches. Oh, that's awesome. That's cool. All right. There we go. We're not quite a short block yet, but we're getting close. We are getting close. Hopefully I can have it a short block by tomorrow. I got to work again tonight. I know. Sucks. But, all right. Catch you on the next one. Thanks, guys.